Aging. It's the one journey we all share, the one thing that connects every living creature on the planet. And yet, it's still one of the biggest mysteries in science. So today, we're going to pull back the curtain and peek inside the labs to see how scientists are trying to crack the code.
So you might be wondering, why is this so urgent all of a sudden? Well, it's because our whole world is getting older, fast. Right now, about 18% of the population is over 65. But look at the projection for 2060. That number is expected to jump to 28%. That's a huge societal shift, and it puts a really profound challenge right in front of us.
And this, right here, is the absolute heart of that challenge. See, we've become amazing at extending our lifespan. That's just the total number of years we're on this planet. But our health span, the number of years we're actually healthy and free from disease, well, that's not really keeping up. And that creates this gap, a period of life that's too often marked by chronic illness. So the real holy grail for scientists isn't just adding years to life, it's about adding life to our years. Okay, so to even start to fix a problem, you first have to agree on what the problem actually is. You have to define the target. So what does aging really truly mean from a biological point of view?
Well, here's something that might surprise you. Biologically speaking, aging isn't considered a disease. Nope, it's seen as this fundamental, universal process. It's a series of changes that just kicks in for every single member of a species after they're done growing. It's not some outside invader, it's literally part of our own blueprint. To make sure they're studying actual aging and not something else, scientists have a super strict 4-point checklist. For something to officially count as aging, it has to be 1. Universal, meaning it happens to everybody. 2. Intrinsic, it's driven by our own internal biology, not the environment. 3. Progressive, it happens gradually. And 4. Deleterious, which is just a fancy way of saying it has negative consequences. If it doesn't tick all 4 of those boxes, then scientifically speaking, it's not aging.
All right, so we have a clear definition. That seems pretty straightforward, right? Well, this is where the map gets incredibly complicated, because defining the what turns out to be a whole lot easier than explaining the why. The list of potential causes is, well, it's huge.
And when I say huge, I mean truly massive. Get this, all the way back in 1990, a scientist had already managed to count over 300 different scientific theories of aging. 300! And you can bet that number has only gone up since then. And seeing that staggering number is what led that scientist, Medvedev, to a really crucial insight. He realized that hoping to find one single, unified, magic bullet cause for aging is probably just unrealistic. It's not a simple puzzle with one piece missing. It's much more like a complex web, where pulling on any single thread sends ripples through the entire system. So, if you're a scientist faced with this incredibly complex web with hundreds of different threads, how on earth do you even begin to study it? What kind of tools do you use for a process that's so slow and intricate? I mean, that's the fundamental problem, isn't it? Time. You can't just set up an experiment on a person and wait 80 years for the results. It's just not practical. So, to make any real progress, researchers had to find a way to essentially hit the fast-forward button on an entire lifetime. And their solution is to use what are called model organisms. These are basically stand-ins for us humans. The toolkit here is pretty diverse. It ranges from something as simple as yeast to tiny little worms and fruit flies that live their entire lives in just a matter of weeks, all the way up the ladder to mice, rats, and even non-human primates, which are biologically much closer to us. But, and this is a huge but, every single one of these models comes with a critical trade-off. It's a constant balancing act. On one end, you have something like a tiny worm. It's cheap, and you can get results in just a few weeks. But, I mean, it's a worm. How much can its biology really tell us about a human? Then, on the other end, you've got primates, which are super similar to us. But a single experiment can be wildly expensive and take decades to complete. It's always this battle between speed and similarity. This whole dilemma brings us to one of the biggest goals in the entire field of aging research, the hunt for a way to measure aging that's more meaningful than just counting the candles on a birthday cake. Scientists are searching for a true biological clock.
The scientific name for this tool is a biomarker of aging. And honestly, the best way to think about it is like this. Your chronological age, your birthday age, that's like the odometer on your car. It just tells you how many miles you've gone. A biomarker, on the other hand, would be like a detailed report from a mechanic on the actual condition of your engine. It's a measure of wear and tear, not just time. And finding an accurate one would absolutely revolutionize everything.
But finding a truly useful biomarker is really, really tough. It can't just be any old measurement. It has to change predictably as we get older. It has to be easy to test without some invasive procedure. And, this is key, it has to be reproducible, giving you the same result every time. The standards are incredibly high because, well, the stakes are too.
So, is there anything that fits the bill? Actually, yeah. Right now, there's a very clear frontrunner. It's called the epigenetic clock. The way it works is just fascinating. It looks at these tiny chemical tags on our DNA that accumulate over our lives. A great way to picture them is like little bits of rust that slowly build up on our genetic machinery. By measuring these rust patterns, scientists can get a stunningly accurate estimate of our true biological age.
So, we've defined aging, we've waded through the hundreds of theories, and we've seen the tools scientists are building to measure it. But all of that is really just laying the foundation. It's all just groundwork for the real mission.
And this is it. This is the whole point of the entire quest. The ultimate challenge is to translate all this complex biology into actual practical interventions that can extend our health span, to make sure that our final decades are filled with vitality and function, not just existence. So I want to leave you with this question. Imagine for a second that you could go get a test tomorrow and it could tell you your true biological age. What would you do if you found out it was older than your birthday age, or younger? Would knowing that number, would it change anything at all about how you live your life today? That's the future this science is trying to unlock, and it's a pretty fascinating thought as the quest continues.